We know you were there for a fact. Straight up, we kind of got a good idea of what happened and what went down.
We know she was shot inside their home. They left her to die in the street.
You must have seen and heard many predictions about sports, politics, and world issues, but have you ever heard that someone has predicted their own murder and the killer? In today's video, we are going to talk about a woman who precisely predicted her own murder and her killer. It was on July 25, 2010, when the blood-soaked body of 26-year-old nurse Jane was found in the car parking area of a hospital. She was found with 71 stab wounds inflicted on her body, a stream of blood, and her neck was badly slashed. But the surprising thing is that her death and her killer were nothing new for this nurse Jane. She already knew that she would be killed, and she had written about her murder and the killer in her diary. But how did Jane know all this? Did she try to save herself or not? Watch the video till the end to know the answer to all these questions. To get to the core of the event, let's take you in a flashback. It was 2007. Jane was a bright student who was training as a nurse at a hospital after doing well in school. Jane had a dream of becoming a doctor in her eyes, and she wanted to fulfill this dream with her dedication and hard work. In the hospital where she was working as a nurse, there was also an ambulance technician named Voss who was 31 years old. Voss was married and had 2 children, but he was in love with Jane and wanted to have her at all costs. He starts trying to get Jane by deception. Voss was a bodybuilder and had a strange personality due to using steroids, but he showed a lot of sympathies for Jane to win her heart. Voss was happy with his wife, but he told Jane that he was going to divorce his wife because he wanted to be with Jane, even though he was lying. But Jane was deceived by him and believed him. And in 2008, Voss and Jane started living together at Jane's house. Voss used to visit his wife every other day under the pretext of the night shift, and at the same time he was cheating on 2 women who both thought he was a good person. During interrogation, Jane's mother said that she did not know Voss. It was Jane who introduced me to Voss for the first time. By the time Jane became pregnant in 2009, Voss was now fed up with Jane, and he began to show his true self. And not only that, when Jane was 7 months pregnant, Voss asked her for intercourse, and when Jane refused, he forcibly raped Jane. Voss starts abusing Jane more. He used to beat Jane so much that she got marks on her arms and body, but Jane did not tell anyone about it. Jane used to wear full-sleeve dresses to hide them from her mother so that her mother could not see the marks. Jane's mother suspected Voss of beating Jane, but she thought it was probably her delusion and didn't bother to ask Jane. Finally, Jane told her mother that her husband Voss was beating her very badly, and she was in a lot of pain. But Jane didn't want to go away from Voss. She told her mother that she still loves Voss and hopes to get her old Voss back soon. But Voss had no intention of reforming. In October 2009, Jane gave birth to 2 daughters together. She was very happy and hoping that since Voss became a father, he would love her again, but her hopes were dashed. Even these 2 lovely daughters could not stop Voss from beating and insulting Jane. Jane was bearing everything silently. But she was also human. How long could she be patient? One day, Voss rapes and tortures Jane in the presence of his daughters. And that day, Jane's patience ran out, and she decided that she wanted to get rid of this torment. Jane had understood that she would not be able to protect her daughters by staying with this man. Jane tells Voss that she is ending their relationship and kicks Voss out of her house. Voss left her house, and she hoped that everything would be normal now. After being alone for some time, Jane was feeling restless, and Voss's violence and cruelty had left a deep impression on her mind. She wanted to avenge the injustice done to her. Finally, Jane decided that she would tell the police about all this and raise her voice on the media against the cruelty done to her. Jane told the police in detail how Vas used to abuse her and what he all did to her. Besides telling the police, she also gave the full story in TV interviews. Now there was media pressure on the police, so they needed to take action as soon as possible. The media pressure worked, and the police took immediate action. The police first dismissed Vas from his job and arrested him with 9 counts of rape and 4 counts of torture. Jane didn't like all this, but she wanted to ensure her and her daughter's safety. And by sending Vas behind bars, she was relieved that she was now safe. But maybe she was not safe because, on the other hand, Vas's legal team was working day and night to get his bail. The following month, Vas's legal team applied for bail in court, and the court granted Vas bail. When Jane and her mother found out about this, they were afraid because they knew it didn't go well. Granting bail, the judge ordered Vas not to go near Jane. Jane knew that Vas would come for revenge, and she started feeling scared in her house, so she decided to shift to her mother's house. Jane wanted life to be normal again, but the fear inside her could not go away. Jane used to write a diary. Jane started writing predictions in the diary. Jane first predicted in her diary was that Vas would do something before the jury decided against him, that he would try to hurt me. A few days later, she wrote again asking, when will it all end? Maybe people will think I am overreacting, but I am very scared. From these writings of Jane, you can imagine how much she was afraid and how much the fear of Vas was on her mind. A few days later, on February 27, she wrote in her diary, I don't think we've seen the end of Vas. He will not go back to trial without harming me. On March 8, she wrote her last prediction, which turned out to be true. She wrote that, I've been worrying today about Johnny Vas coming to get me, even killing me if he gets found guilty when he's released awaiting sentencing. What would stop him? After writing this, she stopped writing, and to normalize her life, she started focusing on her daughters, and she was busy all day. Jane was beginning to return to normal, but she wanted to start her life over. She thought she would start working at the hospital again to keep busy. When Jane started going to the hospital again, Vas also came to know about it and planned to take revenge on Jane. Jane was so scared that every time she went to the hospital, she called someone in her car and accompanied her inside the hospital. She never went anywhere alone. After a few days in the hospital, Jane regained some courage and thought that she could now go everywhere alone. Because carrying someone with you everywhere can be inconvenient for others. She should do her work. One night in July, Jane arrived at the hospital in her car, but she did not know that it was the last trip of her life. As soon as she got out of the car and started going inside the hospital, and suddenly Vas came forward, grabbed Jane, and attacked her. Vas attacked Jane 71 times with the knife, injuring her badly, but he was still unstoppable. He slit Jane's neck with a knife and ran away. Jane's colleagues, when they saw Jane in this condition, took her inside the hospital and tried to save her, but in vain. Jane died within minutes. When the police came to know about this incident, they realized that it was Vas's work, and the police feared that he would now try to harm Jane's parents. The police started searching for Vas and nabbed him from a house. When Vas was arrested and found with petrol cans, he was planning to set fire to Jane's parents' house. Vas was found guilty at trial and sentenced to a minimum of 30 years in prison. But Jane had to lose her life for all this. During the investigation, Jane's mother was also questioned by media and police, and Jane's house was searched. Meanwhile, Jane's diary was found, in which she used to write down all the atrocities that happened to her. Jane's mother and the police were shocked when they read the diary because Jane had revealed in her diary before her death and that Voss would kill her. But now they had nothing left but regret. Jane's shocking predictions about her own murder and killer proved correct. What did you think of the video? Let us know in the comments below. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and like this video, and we look forward to seeing you on the next video.